So, Carey, you composed the Explorer's concert yourself. So, can you describe your piece in like different pictures? Because there are 3 movements, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
the first,
if you want to, you can stand up as well.
so the first movement is called Pacific Diver. It's for all of those arduous hydro adventurers who battle the waves of the sea. And then the second one is for desert marathon runners, and it's called Sahara Runner. And it was inspired by my geography teacher, who actually asked me to write a piece about his marathon in the Sahara. And the third movement is called Mars Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
It's about all of the future exploration and discovery in Mars and the potential rise of life there.
Oh, that's really interesting. And how long did it took you to play to write the whole play?
To write the whole thing, it was, I think it was around 5 months, and the 5 months, but most of the time I was at school, so I could only compose on weekends.
Okay.
So
on weekends, okay. And are you excited to play tomorrow?
yes, very excited.
Yes, yeah, that's really nice.
So,
yeah.
excuse me, I also have a question.
Yes.
Are the young artists coming from one school in one place or in China or wherever?
Yeah.
I hear they come from England or they
Yeah,
study in England.
Yeah, maybe you
Where
can.
did they start their career?
Yeah,
or their
where did you
talents?
start?
Right now I'm currently in Summerfield School, which is a boarding school in the UK, and I started basically my instrument. I started piano when I was 5 years old, and I passed the
In England?
in England. Yeah, I came to England when I was 3. I started piano when I was 5, and I passed the ARSM examination when I was 8. And then also I started drums when I was 6, and I passed the grade 8 when I was 9. I think I'm the youngest to do both of those exams. And then also I started percussion when I was 8, inspired by my school's music director. And just this year I got the grade 8. I got the grade 8 with distinction. And then just last year I did my organ, and then this year I got grade 6 with distinction. And I started composing when I was 6 years old, inspired after visiting Mozart's birthplace. And from then on I've composed a piano concerto, 2 symphonies, over 30 classical music works, and around 20 songs.
Wow, that is very impressive.
Very impressive.
Really, really impressive. So maybe you want to start with your
Yeah,
piece?
yeah.
Maybe we can go over to the self-composed piece. Yeah.
So,
Enjoy.
As I introduced earlier, each of the 3 movements are each a certain like type of exploration. So first, I'm going to start with the first movement. Well, what happens is at the beginning, the diver, the swimmer, they embark their journey and journey into the sea. So it starts with a great orchestral section without piano, and then I'll start off by playing the calm piano solo at the beginning. Symbolizes the swimmer just starting off their journey, and then afterwards there is this section that's when it's in G major, so their journey is starting quite well actually. They're progressing well, and now I'm going to play you a section in the middle, which is one of the most exciting sections. So that is a section where the swimmer meets some difficulties, and then the whole orchestra rises to it's an E flat minor section, and the whole orchestra finally rises to it's basically the leading section to the coda at the end, which is basically representing the difficulty of the adventurer. So this is the section in the piano part. On top of that, there's also an orchestral section, which goes like. And then, that melody is boomed out by the trumpet to emphasize, like, the slight air of defeat that the swimmer is facing. And then now I'm going to play you the final section. This might sound familiar because it's basically a whole orchestra version of the piano solo at the beginning, added with some more interesting chords, and it's just like it's basically telling us the defeat that the swimmer's facing and how he's going to progress along. Finish off the piece, and those three E minor chords, those three chords progressing to the end. So now I'm going to introduce my second movement, which, as I said before, was inspired by a teacher at my school. He was a Sahara Marathon runner, and after that he asked me to write a symphonic piece expressing his journey. So the start of it is the runner starting to warm up, and it's an orchestral section, which is, I think it's around 40 bars long. And then after the first day of the marathon, it's in many days, the pianist comes in, and with these very big long rungs and chords symbolizing the speed they're running. So. The very fast section where the piano first comes in, and then it goes into an orchestral section which symbolizes him slowing down, the day finishing, and then it ends with again another piano solo. And then that nice B major chord into the next section is a section where it's symbolizing the runner's dreams. And interestingly, the teacher asked me to include a section where he woke up in the desert and found himself come face to face with a scorpion, and then that section was symbolized by three very, very long and sudden chords, which went like this. That was the shock that he received during that period. Now I'm going to play you a section. You might again be familiar with this because this was basically the beginning tune put in a different key, put in F sharp minor, B minor to F sharp minor, and it's basically the second day of him running, or symbolizing quite a few days of him running. After that, there's a section representing the runner's sleep and relaxation until the final day, which is the coda that I'm going to play for you now. The orchestra starts with some chords, well, not some chords, some rhythms based on what was before. It goes like this. And then after the trumpet joins in with, and then that's all the harmony, and then the piano comes in with the main melody of the sound of success and the and the coming of the coming of power to be so in such a good position in such an arduous race. So this is the piano melody. Ending with a final blow of success. Now I'm going to walk you through the third movement of my piece. It's called Mars Explorer, and it's also the longest and most detailed movement of my piece. So this movement starts with a kind of rocket blast off. So the strings come in pizzicato with this melody, and then the double bass, the contrabasses are striking arco underneath, notes underneath. Comes in with a very long melody. This first section reminds me a little bit of a trumpet concerto. It's kind of an inspiration I use, and it's basically emphasizing the rockets getting ready to launch off into the sky, and it soon reaches a very big apex. And now I'll play you the piano in that section. It goes like. Next few sections. So the next section is basically seeing maybe alien life on Mars, and then the piccolo flute accompanied soon by the whole orchestra playing a very interesting tune with irregular beats. So it's in 4/4, but every five I designed this quite mathematically. So every 5 beats I included a quaver rest. And likewise in my piano part, every 5 beats I included a crotchet rest. And furthermore, the next section is basically a reiteration of the beginning section. So the original melody comes back in, and then the piano comes back in with quite an interesting tune, which it symbolizes like humans coming to colonize Mars and see, like, scientists exploring what's on the planet. After that, it's a reiteration of the alien and human speaking part, and that soon leads to quite a different section, and that is the section I'm going to play for you now. So this is quite a long section, but this section is basically emphasizing human and alien life being brought closer together, them negotiating, and there are very many interesting chords there, such as this first chord here. It's an A added with it's an augmented chord. It's an augmented chord in E flat added with a C and A triad. So lots of very interesting chords over here in this section of the piece. So I'm going to start, and then this will include the cadenza, and then I'll stop at the ending for another quick explanation. The trumpet comes in with clarity, as well as the piano. step between the relationship. And then at the sign of this E, it goes back to the original theme. But this time it's different. Instead of it's modulated from E minor to E major throughout the series of events throughout the piece. So the orchestra comes back with that same tune, so does the trumpet, but this time in E major. It goes like. And then the piano comes in with the same tune as before, but again in E major. And then this piece ends on a very glorious minor subdominant cadence. So A minor, E major. And thank you very much everyone for listening to me explain my piece. I hope you enjoyed.